Your fridge hums in the corner right now. You stopped hearing it years ago. Open it. Milk, leftovers, something forgotten in the back. For 300,000 years, none of that existed. No cold box. No off switch on rot. And yet your ancestors did not starve between hunts. They had already solved the problem you now outsource to a machine. So how did a human being keep meat from killing them with no electricity, no ice, no plastic? Here is the number that should stop you. Today, roughly 1/3 of all the food humanity produces is thrown away. The Food and Agriculture Organization puts it near 1.3 billion tons every single year. We have the most powerful preservation technology in history, and we waste more food than any people who ever lived. That is the mismatch. Hold on to it. Let us go back. Because the first thing to understand is that rot is not random. Rot is biology. Bacteria, mold, and yeast eat your food before you can. Ancient humans could not see microbes, but they learned to starve them. The first weapon was simple: water. Microbes need it to grow. Take it away and the feast goes quiet. This is drying. The anthropologist Louis Binford spent years living with and studying the Nunamiut of Alaska in the 1970s. He watched them slice caribou meat thin and hang it until it turned to leather. Dried, that meat could outlast a winter. But drying alone was fragile. Damp air could undo it. So they layered defenses. Francis Densmore documented this in 1929, recording how native peoples made pemmican, pounded dry meat, rendered fat poured over it. Sometimes berries crushed in. Why fat? Because fat seals out air and moisture, and the berries add acid. Densmore noted pemmican could last for years, without a fridge. Notice the pattern. They were not guessing once. They were stacking layers, each one attacking spoilage from a different angle. Now here's a question. What if you live where the air itself is your freezer? In 1985, researchers studying Ice Age sites on the Ukrainian plain found something remarkable. These mammoth hunters dug storage pits into ground that stayed frozen year-round. Permafrost. They were burying meat in a natural deep freeze, tens of thousands of years before anyone plugged in an appliance. Think about what that means. They read the landscape like a tool. Cold ground was technology. Let me put you there. It is dusk on the steppe. The wind cuts. You have just brought down more meat than your group can eat in a week, and the warmth of the carcass is already an enemy. Flies are coming. You work fast, knees in the cold mud, you dig. The earth a few feet down is hard as stone and bitterly cold against your knuckles. You wrap the cuts, lower them in, pack the frozen soil back over the top. You are not just feeding tonight. You are feeding the version of yourself 3 weeks from now, when the next hunt fails. Your body learned to do this because the ones who did not do it did not have children. That is storage as survival. Not convenience. Life and death. If this is the kind of buried history you want more of, take 1 second and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep digging. Now here is the twist, the part nobody expects. The most powerful ancient preservation method did not fight microbes at all. It recruited them. Fermentation. The conservator and scientist Marilou Florian explains the chemistry plainly. Certain friendly bacteria eat sugars and produce lactic acid. That acid drops the pH, turning the food sour. And in that sour environment, the dangerous microbes, the ones that make you sick, cannot survive. Read that again. Ancient humans let food go bad in exactly the right way to stop it from going bad in the deadly way. They could not name a single bacterium. But across the entire planet independently, humans landed on the same answer. Sour milk, buried fish, fermented vegetables. Cultures that never met each other invented the same trick. That is the deepest kind of proof. When unrelated peoples, separated by oceans, arrive at the same solution, you are not looking at an accident. You are looking at something the human story selected for: drying, salting, fat sealing, freezing in earth, fermenting. 5 different sciences, all running before anyone knew what science was. So why does any of this matter to you standing in your kitchen with a humming fridge? Because your body was built for that other world. The world of scarcity, of storing for the hungry weeks ahead. The researcher Stefan Guynet has written about how our appetite was tuned by hundreds of thousands of years of effort and uncertainty. Food was hard. You worked, you stored, you rationed. Your hunger and your fullness were calibrated for that fight. Now the fight is gone. The fridge never empties. The shelves are always full. Calories cost almost nothing to get. And so the same instinct that once kept you alive, the drive to take more than you need right now, the drive to store against tomorrow, fires constantly in a world where tomorrow always arrives stocked. You feel it as overeating, as craving, as the leftovers you forget and throw away. 1/3 of all our food wasted, because abundance is the one environment your survival programming never saw coming. Here is the truth at the bottom of the pit. You do not have a broken relationship with food. You have an ancient, brilliant one, running in a world it was never designed for. The instinct to store, to hoard a little against the lean season, that is not a flaw. That is your ancestors, still trying to get you through the winter. You are not broken. The world changed. It filled the cold box and never let it run empty. So next time you hear that fridge hum, the sound you stop noticing, listen for a second. It is solving a problem your body spent 300,000 years learning to solve by hand. If this rewired how you see your own kitchen, watch our next one on why your ancestors had better teeth than you do, with no dentist at all. Subscribe and keep digging with us.